Let me present my new crash course on how to start using Google AutoML feature in translation. I am Marcin Kocharski and this course was brought to you by goodwords.me. Thank you for your interest. Let's get started. What you need for now. Resources, in the form of translation memories. I guess most translators have their own translation memories. Or perhaps you have some customer-specific project memories. What is important here is to ensure we have all the required copyrights and permissions for using such resources online. You must be aware that to create a machine learning model for translation, Google in the first place receives our existing translations to form the foundation of the model. We'll need a translation memory, preferably in the TMX format. Alright, what else? Let's move on to the Google account. If you don't have one, please register. If you have one, all's good. If you have never used Google Cloud services in the past, you should be entitled to a free initial access with $300 worth credits that you can use for paid services on Google Cloud. The money may be useful as training language models requires both time and cost. I'll show you the pricing later on. Once you are logged into your account, go to cloud.google.com. Click Start Free. Forgive me the Polish language interface. I'll change it in a minute. Here, you're required to give your personal data along with credit card details for future payments. As of now, no funds will be withdrawn from your account, don't worry. Sometimes Google may temporarily block some small amount of $1 for example, but it will be refunded right away. If you already used cloud services, you just skip this step and go directly to your cloud console. I am not filling in the fields so as not to disclose to you my personal data, but every user is required to do so. Then they ask a couple of questions, I guess for statistical reasons. Select your matching answers. Here, I'll go for artificial intelligence/learning systems and APIs. And still our role in the company. We're now on the home page of the Google Cloud Console. Type translation in the bar on the top. Turn on API. I'll switch the language now, sorry. To configure and use AutoML, we'll mainly need the product called AutoML Translation. Let's open it. We've just were redirected to datasets. Datasets are, as the name suggests, sets of data used for training linguistic models and later on for translation and prediction. As we don't have any model yet, we must create one. Select your language pair. This is important and the selected language pair must match the language pair of the translation memory uploaded later on. Click Create. And wait a couple of minutes for a dataset to be generated. By now your dataset should be created. Here is the name of your dataset. Click the name to open the dataset. At this step, in the website URL, you can find so-called location of your database. We will need it at the later stages, so please copy-paste it somewhere. Okay, now we have a ready dataset. But now it is still empty. Any empty database will be of no use. What we need to do now is to feed it with our data. To do this we will need to import our translation memory in the TMX format. Click Import. Here we have a description of the step, as well as details about other possible translation memory formats. We'll stick to the most universal extension and the default settings here. You can either upload files from your computer or select files already on a cloud storage. Also, it is worth to note that the size limit of a translation memory is 100,000 units, or pairs in other words, while the minimum size is 1,000. So you need to have at least 1,000 units in your translation memory. Only then the training and this linguistic analysis will make sense. Let me now show you how to prepare a TMX format from Trados Studio. Open the project with the memory you want to use for in Google AutoML. Go to Project Settings. Select your desired memory. Click Export and Browse. Choose your target folder and a name. Then click Finish and wait for the results. Large translation memories will take longer to export. Please also note that for the sake of this course in the next steps I will be using smaller translation memory in order not to use so much of Google's server's computing power. The size of your translation memory will determine the cost of computing. So, the translation memory is now exported and ready to use. Let's switch back to Google Cloud Console. Click Select Files and upload the file you have just exported. Google needs to store them on their side. To allow it, let's create a bucket, which is a type of a data container. Each bucket requires unique identification name. As you can see, some basic ones are already taken. So, I need to come up with something more sophisticated. There is no need to do any advanced settings here. The default ones are sufficient. Let's leave everything as it is. Click Select. And then Continue. Uploading is in progress. Again, it takes a while to import the translation units, especially if your TM is large. The file has been processed, and if everything has been successful, you will be able to see your translation units. As I told you, I used another translation memory to speed up processing. AutoML automatically assign units to different categories in adequate proportions: training, validation, and testing. Let's go to training. Click Train and start training. No need to set up anything in this pop-up. I also want to show you the training pricing. As during the training Google uses its computer power, it charges users for this service. The price depends on the sample size. Please note that if you have just opened your cloud account, you may qualify to the $300 bonus. Also, a single training won't cost more than $300, which is great in this case. Indicated are also estimated processing times to wait. Here's the credited bonus shown. Click Activate before starting training. Finally, click Start Training. Now you need to wait from 1 to few hours for the processing to finish. If you haven't done so yet, in the meantime don't forget to activate your free trial to avoid needless costs. After a few hours, our model is finally ready. You can check out all the details, like model sentences, evaluation information. You can use the model for a test prediction. In the Model sections, you'll find important information, including dataset name and model name, which starts with N. Copy or retype them to your notepad. Done. We need a couple of things more. Now, let's locate the project name. It can be found after clicking the drop-down button on the top. Again, copy it and paste to your notes. My note says API, but it's a mental shortcut. Please ignore it. It is just the project name. Now, we need to generate and download a special JSON file. For this, click the burger menu on the left, select IAM and Admin, and Service Accounts. Here, firstly create a service account. Choose an account name that you'd like to use. Once you've selected one, click Create and Continue. The next step is important to ensure that your account is configured correctly for our purposes. Select a role. Start typing Translation API and select the option Cloud Translation API Admin. Do not add anything more. Click Continue and Done. Additionally, we need to generate and download a special JSON file. To do this, click Service Accounts. Select Keys, Add Key and Create New Key. What we need is JSON file. Use the Create button and select your target path. Now you have your JSON file ready on your computer. Additionally, copy its path to the notes. Remember to remove the quotation marks. At this stage, everything should be ready in the Google Cloud Console. Now, it's time to implement our personal, trained machine translation engine in our CAT tool. In this example, we will use Trados Studio 2021. Here you need to know that different Trados versions require different plugins. The 2021 version needs Mount Enhanced, while for versions from 2022 up, use Google Cloud Translation Provider. In the meantime, please download the plugin I just mentioned. Then install it and open Trados. We will create a new project using a sample file and configure and connect AutoML. Prepare your files. For this example, I will use a single file and I will create a project. Here, drag and drop. Create new local project. Set up properly the source and target languages. Give your project a name and so on. Once done, click Next. Next once again. Go to Translation Memories. If you have done everything correctly, you should see your newly installed plugin here. So, click MT Enhanced Trados plugin. Select Google Translator, then change to Advanced. More options should expand. Here you'll need to enter your cloud credentials. Open your notepad and paste one by one as shown. Before you click OK, you can also check more advanced settings here. For example, it's better when resend draft segments is unchecked as resending uses additional cloud computing capacity. And this is paid for. Up to 500k words a month is free, so every needless word matters. You can play with the remaining settings if you wish. The default configuration is OK. Let's also add a translation memory. I'll create a new one. Please remember that to calculate and make use of matches, including repetitions or fuzzies, you need to have your local or server-stored TM. Google service itself doesn't store your translations, it only inserts them from the cloud one way. This is important if you want to use your translation units for reference in the future. I'll skip the glossary step here. You may add your own if you want. Click Finish. If everything was set up correctly, Trados pre-translated the file using our personal machine translation engine trained with own resources. Click Close. Open your newly created project, and you can now start working. Please bear in mind it is still a machine translation engine and it's only an aid. Such translation shouldn't be used before thorough editing. Also, the quality may depend on your resources used to build this model and your language pairs. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. See ya.